this chapter, we're going to be looking at a bit more advanced technique of routing the audio from Maschine into Ableton Live. So to do this, what we have to do is create some audio tracks, which we're going to send the audio to. So I just recommend creating a few tracks. And then what we need to do is actually route all the audio out from Maschine. One thing to note here is that if I, for example, all of these tracks, you can send the output of the audio from to Maschine. And when I click on, say, track 3 and I want to select audio out, even though we have 16 sounds here, so essentially it should be 16 output, you'll see that it starts at out 2. The reason for that is that output 1 will always be sent to the MIDI channel that you have Maschine loaded in. So this can be a little bit tricky in the sense that you won't be able to get an audio out from 1 because that will be sent to the main MIDI track. There's a couple of workarounds for that, but we won't be needing that today. We're actually going to start the kick from audio out 2. So starting inside Maschine, what we need to do first of all is to actually route all of these sounds to an external output. So starting with the kick, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this dial, which is going to lead me to the audio output settings. So we just want to make sure we've clicked on output, audio here, and for destination, what we can do is start at external 2. So now if I go back into Ableton, my audio from tab, I can click on the drop down menu here and start at 2. When we hit record arm, if I hit that kick, you can see I'm now getting a signal here. So there's no longer a signal inside Maschine. This signal is coming into the audio track here. We actually need to turn the monitor on, so we can turn that to auto, and now you'll hear the sound again. So we're going to repeat this process for all the rest of the pads. So if my kick is starting on external 2, we're going to set the snare to external 3, hi-hat to 4, the next close hi-hat to 5. I like to keep my hi-hats kind of grouped together. So we're going to do the open hat on 6 actually. And then bass is going to go on 7. Rim shot on 8. Ride is going to go to 9. And all of the samples, because they're in a choke group and we're playing them in a sequence, we're actually going to set those to the same track. So if the last one, which was the ride, was 9, all the samples are going to go to 10. So we'll click on here, we'll select 10 for all of the samples. And the last one set is that crash, and we're going to put that on 11. So now we just need to make sure that we have all the same settings for those tracks inside Ableton. So we know we've got 11 external, we're going up to 11. So we need to just check all of these are set. So I've already got my kick here. And then snare is going to be on 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and that's all the tracks. So at this stage, what you can do is select all, record arm them all. You can also turn the monitor onto auto for all of them. So now we can actually get the sounds. And what I would also recommend doing at this stage is renaming all of your tracks. so that you don't get lost and you can easily see which sounds are going where. So I'm going to do that quickly. Now I've named all the tracks, we can also kind of arrange them if you want to put them into a different order. So like I said, I like to group all the hats together. I am also going to bring the crash over to where the hats are. So we just drag that over there. We've got the 808 rim ride we'll bring over to the drums as well. Rim, I'm going to put that next to the snare, and then chords at the end. So now we should see the audio signal coming from each pad. And that's all working perfectly. So now that we have all the audio routed out into Ableton, if I hit record inside Ableton, it's going to allow me to record these hits that I'm playing as audio tracks. So and now you can see we've recorded all those individual tracks into Ableton as audio files. Now we have them ready that we can chop them up, move them around and adjust them. Obviously quantize isn't available here in the same way that we can with MIDI, but if you do want to quantize it, what you can do is go into the audio file and then in this section hit warp, and now you can place your warp markers to move your audio along if you need to adjust anything. And that's how you can record Maschine as separate audio files inside Ableton. The purpose of recording each sound as a separate audio file allows you to be able to go more in depth into mixing and to be able to use external third-party plugins and stuff, such as compression, EQ, reverb, etc. with those individual files. You also have each sound separated so that you can really go into how you want to tweak that individual sound itself. In a way, it's kind of thinking about this in the sense of if you were producing a track and you had individual stems for each sound within that track, this is the same thing. So we're creating stems for each individual sound, and now we have a lot more room to play around with it, and we're not so limited in terms of what we can do with each sound.